Well, welcome to Beardcast number 5. My name is Zach Bechtold,
And I'm Matt Franks.
and we thank you for joining us again today through this Lenten season and into Holy Week. The last Beardcast number 4, we talked about our Lenten devotions and practices and how we're going to make room for God to work. And today we want to talk about where we saw God at work, how making that room was productive and fruitful. And I'm going to start us out today. And for me, just to remind you, my Lenten devotion was taking naps. Just finding times to rest throughout the busy day and throughout the busy Lenten season. And I like to be really busy. It keeps me out of trouble and keeps me engaged in things. And so to take the time to slow down, to simply rest, and be intentional about devotion and through some other things. I really saw God work. I really saw God work in a different way in me in resting and being intentional about that. Just in the sense of being calm. Through the last 6 weeks, I haven't been as irritable to my family and coworkers, which has been nice for them and nice for me as well. But I found a true difference in the way that I approach not only Lent but my day-to-day devotion.
I think for me, one of the things that I agreed to do this year for Lent was to not add anything into my schedule, and that was to help me with some personal issues that I had going on at the time, and also to see how my life would be different if I chose and was really centered on what I added to my schedule. And after reflecting upon that practice, as we are, we're on Thursday, we've only got a couple more days of Lent left. I found that practice to be very, very helpful in so many ways. It allowed me to deal with the issues with my mother very well. It allowed me to make space to be able to go spend the time that I needed to with her. And there was something sacred about being able to, on Sunday evening, the night before she passed, to not have anything on my schedule, to be able to go and be with her in the final moments of her life, and not have to fret about being somewhere, having to do something, or having additional responsibilities that pastors tend to take on for themselves this time of year. I find that at the first part of the year, it seems like that pastors are always asked to do things, whether it's the same stuff that they've always done throughout the year or it's new stuff. And so I found that by me saying no and hanging true to the promise of not adding additional things on my schedule, I found that very helpful, and it allowed me to make room for God in a way that I needed in this particular time of my life.
I think we both took different routes of making that room, but both on the end of being busy, or not being so busy, not letting things, not saying yes to things that you don't have room for, and me in the same regard of taking time to not be busy. In what ways do you think you'll carry that on into your ministry and into your personal practice after Lent?
I think being more attentive to my schedule and asking myself, is this something that I truly need to do? Is it life-giving? Is it something that helps in the ministry that I do? I think that's important, and being able to say, yes, I can do this, or no, that I can't, is very helpful. Like, one of the things that I'm semi-passionate about is disaster response and disaster relief. And in December, we were hit with floods, horrible flooding in our area, and it has not been declared a natural or a national emergency, but it's still an emergency. We still have people dealing with flooding issues, and so I've been walking with this group to help making sure that people in Mays County the flood help that they need, and they were wanting to make me the chair, and they were wanting me to be really involved with this. And I really had to step back and say, I really just can't right now. What I've found fruit in that is that because of that, what I've done is that I've sat down with the people that were elected and I've said, okay, here's some things that I've learned through all the other natural disasters I've been through. Here's some things you're going to encounter. And then just allowing people to run with that but and saying, hey, I'm here as a resource, but I don't have to be hands, feet, and everything about it. And that's something I'm really going to start looking at, is seeing how I can really, really just empower people to do things versus trying to harness it myself, and letting go. I think that's the hardest part for all of us. We have busyness in our schedule because sometimes there are things that we feel like we have to do because we're the only ones that can do it. And I think when we start looking at things and saying, what are some things I can let go of? And when you do that, you'll find that you'll have room for life that you didn't have before. And I think for me, being able to spend carving, being very forceful about my schedule and spending that time with my mother allowed me to do some things that I really wanted to do in a while. Not only just being with my mom in their final days, but also being able to read more. I think I read more this Lent than I've read in a long time. And it's being adamant about carving out that schedule to read. And I've had a little more time to do other things. And even as soccer season is kicking up for us, I coach my daughter's soccer teams. The great thing about this season is that they're both on the same team, so we're not spread thin. And so I'm very, very adamant about our soccer schedule. We only practice on Mondays and we play on Saturdays. And, I know some people would love for us to practice more, but I feel that the hour that we spend each week is very helpful and enough that there's stuff that they can do at home. And, I think that's something we should always, as we conclude Lent, we should always be wondering about what we did that make an impact on us spiritually? And I think for me this year, it definitely did. What about you, Zach?
I'm in the same regard. By letting things go, by resting, by being really intentional about empowering others to get stuff done rather than feeling like I have to do it all the time. I've seen a healthier me, both personally and spiritually. And I'm seeing my church begin to be more healthy, taking on that role of being empowered and going and doing through this Lenten season. And that's really exciting moving forward as we move past Lent and into some transitional period for myself and my current church and a new one. That empowerment's going to last beyond my days here. That they're truly the hands and feet, and it doesn't revolve around me. And so that's really exciting for me to see, not only as a pastor, but just as an individual who loves the church and wants to see the church grow and continue. And it's also allowed me to be more present at home, which is a big deal. I'm not always, I haven't always been good about being fully present and fully engaged at home with my wife and kids, and being really intentional about that rest and not being so busy has allowed me to come back home and be that husband and father that I need to be. And so that's been really good through this season.
So how do you think you'll carve out that time that you had during Lent? Are you going to make that something that you do now always, and as you enter into your new setting, your new ministry setting, that's always good to set up new boundaries and better boundaries than you've had before. I encourage you to be honest about those boundaries and not let them flex, because as someone who has moved frequently in the itinerant system, I can tell you that one of the healthier things I've discovered is being able to set the boundaries from the get-go and not make them up as you go along. And I think that's, as you make that transition, to be honest about that, and that this is important to you, because it not only does it help you, it will in turn help them. And I think that's been the thing with me in my congregation, is that I've noticed that as I've have said, no, can you handle this? It's been such a relief to know that they know that I have confidence in them to do the work that we need to do as a body of faith.
Oh, most definitely. Something my wife and I have talked a whole lot about is intentionally taking that time off, whether it be during the week or a Sunday, and we've decided that one of the boundaries that we'll set moving forward throughout ministry is Fifth Sunday. When Fifth Sundays roll around, we take that Sunday off. We're not going to be preaching. We're not going to be teaching. We may not even worship at the church that we're serving. We want to take that time and go worship somewhere else, not have to lead, and let that be one of the intentional things that we do, to have rest as not only as a family, but as individuals, as well as taking some of the day-to-day practices. I don't know that I'll be as strict on the day-to-day rest, being really intentional about that, but I'll take those pieces that really help throughout the week and bring those back into keep those in my daily rotation, but bring them back into Lent next year, and be really intentional about those 40 days or so, and then see where God's working in those again.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the same thing I do. I'm actually going to kind of a litmus test for my schedule will be there'll be some things that I'll ask, and is this something I need to do? Is this something I want to do? Is this something that I have to do? And kind of using that as a good litmus test on what I need to be doing. I think that's going to help me not only in my schedule and how I schedule things, but also looking at vacation time and stuff like that, educational time that opportunities I want to have to learn more, because I love being a lifelong learner, and I want to continue that and make that really a part of who I am. And so as we bring today to a close, we'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And so, respond back to us via our Facebook page or Twitter or Instagram or, however you communicate. We try to communicate back with you. We'd encourage you to look at our website, and don't be afraid to go to the merchandising aisle and pick up, because the money that we make from that only supports the work that we'll do. Websites cost money, and I know Zach and I aren't rolling in the millions, and we don't write books yet. But anything you want to buy is pretty cool. The mugs are awesome. Those transition mugs are just so cool. And we encourage you to support the things that we do here. So as we bring today to a close, my prayer for you as you are watching this video is that may something we said today touch and change your heart to grow closer to God. So I hope you have, and we will see you next time.